Hey everybody, so today we are here to talk about Mercury in the 11th house. We are starting our Mercury series. So the 11th house is about friendships, organizations, clubs that you choose to be a part of, clubs that you choose to be a part of that have a more like progressive nature. It's about the progressive ideas we have for the world, our hopes and dreams, our personal hopes and dreams. And then we have Mercury. Mercury is our literal words. It's our conscious thoughts, our ideas that we string together, our conscious reasoning, such as, okay, this pipe just burst. What should I do next? It's our conscious memory. When we put together, okay, 2 days ago, it was Thursday and I did this. This is how we piece things together. It is transportation. It is how you communicate, different forms of communication. This can be calling, texting, email, letters, stuff like that. The types of topics that we are interested in learning about, reading about, and yeah. So some celebrities that we have for this placement are, I don't know, I just randomly chose all women this time, but we have Angelina Jolie, a very widely known philanthropist and actress. We have Nicki Minaj, one of the most famous rappers in the world. Kim Kardashian, who I feel like I talk about every video, and Nicole Scherzinger. If you guys don't know, because you're a little younger, lead singer of the Pussycat Dolls, this early 2000s group, and I think she's a judge on one of them stupid shows like The Voice or whatever. When it comes to Mercury, it's about what are you talking about? And you're talking about 11th house things, of course. You're talking about your hopes and dreams, things that you desire for the world, ways in which you want the world to be better. A more progressive society, things that you would like to see change in the world. This is also about speaking. So this can manifest as being a speaker for a group, standing up for a group of people that you may feel is more marginalized, or you may be a group for a more broad cause, such as changing laws. And examples like you want to get rid of like solitary confinement. That's speaking for a group of people, but also for a cause. PETA is a great example of being a part of a group that's for a more progressive cause, for the more humane treatment of animals, something like that. Speaking up for people who you feel like they need some kind of help. You are very vocal about how you want the world to be and how you want your world to be. This is a good thing because this will attract, when it's like putting like a Batman symbol in the sky. You are attracting, because you're constantly talking about what you want, you are attracting people to you who also share similar ideas or are interested in learning more about what you're talking about. And we need you guys in the world because we need people who dream, because so many of us have accepted society as it is, and we just kind of accept the status quo and go with it. Although there are many things that I think all of us, everyone wants to change or would like to see be a little bit better, but you guys are the ones who really, like, your mind is focused on it, you're verbalizing it, and then that naturally just leads to that buildup of energy, which brings about the action that, you know, the rest of us may sort of have just kept up here or in here and not really put it out into the world. When it comes to being the voice of a group, this was more of like a literal example, and it's not really, whatever. It was a more literal example, but Nicole Scherzinger, so I think like groups have really died now. Everyone's more of an independent artist, but back in like the early 2000s, it was the thing to be a part of a group, and even in the 60s, but you always have that one person when you think of a group. You've always got, like, when you think of Destiny's Child, you think of Beyonce. When you think of the Pussycat Dolls, you think of Nicole Scherzinger. I don't even know who some of them are. I'm like, I know like there's like a blonde girl and like another black girl, but you know the one. Like, you are often the voice of a group, the spokesperson, the could be publicist. That could be more of a 10th house thing. But yeah, she was the lead singer of a group. She's what we all know. She's always in the center. She's always, you know, got the most lines. She's always got the biggest vocal part. And I watched an interview with her one time. I thought it was very interesting. She said that they had actually recorded the whole album, and she, you know, she sang her parts, and she brought the rest of the girls in to listen to it. And I think they kind of just added their little ad-libs in the back. So it can be good or bad. I mean, I guess she felt kind of frustrated with that, but and I think that's why the group broke up. But another example of a celebrity who is the voice of a group, abortion rights groups, animal rights groups, when it's time for people to speak to a group, when it's time for PETA to get on the news, they're not interviewing 10 people, they're interviewing one person. You might be that person. you have so much confidence in what you're saying, and you have so much confidence because you actually believe these ideas. You didn't just do this to do it. You're not just doing it for show or because you're bored, or you believe in it. That's why you're in the group in the first place. So when you speak, that passion and that genuine energy comes through, and that's what people think you are a good speaker to speak to maybe other leaders of other groups. Maybe you're a social group, but you're speaking to politicians. Maybe you're speaking in front of Congress, or there's a big event. Maybe you're on the news or something like that, where you just feel like, yes, this is my time to shine. It's my time to get my ideas out. It really is your calling. Your energy that you have is so real that it subconsciously influences others to let you take that microphone, and it influences yourself too to keep being like, hey, I need to be the one. I can say it the best. I know I'm the most passionate. Not in the Leo, I need to be the star type of way, but in the I got this type of way. This is also the house of friendship. Like I said, we are stronger together. If there is anyone who's ever tried to do anything progressive, changing laws, getting certain bills passed, just making huge overhaul changes, we are stronger together. It's so cheesy, but it's a very true statement. And that's where your friends and the people that you attract with your words really come into play, because everybody, even though you have this vocal ability, this ability to verbalize what you feel and to state it clearly, everyone in the group has their own little thing that they're adding that can really progress the cause and push it forward. And at the end of the day, that's what you want more than anything, more than being on the stage, more than being the voice. You want the cause. So having friends that also care about the same things that you care about is extremely important to you. Another celebrity example, we have Kim Kardashian, who has her Mercury in the 11th house. And I thought she was a great example because she has been very vocal for these past couple years about prison reform.
Speak for anybody in law school, but I learned so much just basically working on memos and being the assistant to them while the First Step Act was happening, and like learning how you get bills passed and working on it from the ground up.
And she's always on her social media, which is another 11th house thing. The 10th and the 11th is like, 10th is public, 11th is like internet social media. She's been very vocal on there. I always see her posting something. Just the other day, she posted about Ivan Cantu. Sometimes she has even gotten in touch with like certain politicians. Greg Abbott, she got a woman named Melissa, her sentence to be commuted. It doesn't always work, and she documents this on her show. But just an example of someone who's like, this is what I feel like needs to be done and be better in the world. And then she goes out and she speaks about it and she does it. And does it always work? No, but she's getting involved with groups and getting people to get behind certain things to try to make as much change as she can. When we think about what defines more progressive, that is a very subjective term, because what is progressive can be different to everyone, and it can be in different areas of life. Some groups, like I said, care about animal rights. Some people care about abortion. Some people care about prison reform. Some people care about women's rights. And so that is really up to the person. There's no one thing I think that you're progressive about, but it gets you thinking in a more progressive way. If we're talking about prison reform, it's like, okay, how did they get there? What was their life like before that? What is the justice system like? You're into thinking about all factors that influence the group that you're trying to stick up for. And that gives you a very open-minded, very compassionate sort of nature, but not in a 12th house way, in a more cerebral 11th house. Like, okay, this is how these kinds of things come about, and this is how I can tackle it. And it just, you constantly thinking about those kind of things and mulling it over leads you to more innovative ideas on how to fix things. So when it comes to talking, I would just say for you guys at the appropriate times to be very honest about how you feel and the things that you are thinking about and the change that you want to see in the world, and connect with like-minded individuals. If there's a group in your town, even in your school, at your job, that you're like, hey, I kind of like the message of this and I want to be a part of it, the best thing you can do is join that group, talk to those people, get your ideas out, share, collaborate, and you're going to feel so rejuvenated because you're going to start to see the progress that you want actually moving forward. When it comes to your personal hopes and dreams for your own world, you have dreams for the world outside and you have dreams for your own world. When it comes to dreams for your own world, the same sort of message applies. You want to be very vocal about what you want. We have celebrity Nicki Minaj, who I thought was a great example. She has Mercury in the 11th house. She has a stellium in the 11th house, I believe. And she used to work at Red Lobster, which she just revealed in a recent questionnaire, 70 questions with Nicki Minaj, I think it was. And she talked about how it was just her dream, and she always talked about it, and she always verbalized it, and she kept going, and now she's one of the most, if not the most successful female rapper in history. She was putting it out, putting the signals out to the world, connecting with those people and talking and socializing until it eventually started to gain traction and become a thing. Gaining traction is like such a huge phrase and such a huge theme for what it's like to achieve a dream, because you don't achieve it overnight. So another great example, anything that you want, I want you to keep talking about. If you want to be a photographer or a model or, you know, a newscaster or whatever, I would encourage you to, again, when appropriate, bring that up in conversation or sneak it in there and see when you are socializing with someone else, what they have to say. Somebody may say, oh, you want to be a photographer? Well, my kid needs a photo shoot next week. And then that may be how you build your portfolio. Socializing, talking, and networking are the 3 main things that you can do to make your dreams become a reality. And your dreams are meant to become a reality. Everyone has this capacity, but especially when you have planets in the 11th house, it's like you're meant to give them a little bit more energy, I think, than the average person. Connecting with individuals in general, that's something that'll make your Mercury feel good. I like to phrase it like that, something that will make this particular planet feel good, because it's different for everybody. It's different for your placements. It's even different for your aspects. But something that makes your Mercury feel good is just connecting with people in general. It doesn't always have to be a protest or, you know, some sort of progressive cause. It could be just calling a friend and talking on the phone with them and seeing how they're doing. It could be sending a letter or a postcard, sending a text to people every once in a while that you haven't talked to, and just be like, hey, how you doing? What's new? And keeping them up to date with you just really makes you feel good, makes you feel connected to your friends, because this is a house of friendship and talking. So it's talking to your friends, meeting new people, talking to your friends, socializing. This is stuff that makes you feel really happy, really good, really content. And when you think about what networking is and what socializing is, it is just a web that sort of branches out. So if you have 3 friends from high school and you hang out with them, and one day they may say, hey, I'm hanging out with some of my coworkers, we're getting some drinks, would you like to come? If you are more introverted, if you're more 12th house, you may only want to hang around people that you feel comfortable with. But in the 11th house, it's very important for you to push yourself. And having Mercury here, it's possible you may have other planets, maybe the sun in the 12th. It's very good for you, at least from time to time, to go out and meet your friends' friends. And then maybe you can befriend them if, you know, it works. And meet their friends' friends and network until you find that perfect group of people where you feel like, this is my group. And it could be something small, like a ceramics group that meets once a week. Or one of my old teachers was in a sewing club and she was just very excited. And they would just sew, but she said, it's not even just about the sewing, it's more about the social interaction that we do. And they would travel and then they would just sit in like groups and sew together, which you could in theory sew by yourself. You could in theory sew in your own city, but it's that socializing and that networking that will help your personal dreams to actualize and your more progressive ideas to gain traction. So socializing is big. And you do have great social skill. I would argue that any Aquarius placement that I've ever seen, sun, moon, rising, you know, Venus, whatever, and any planet in the 11th house, unless it's like Saturn, lends to a person a sort of openness that allows them to befriend anybody. The reason that you have friends is because you are open. It doesn't matter if they are the goth kid, it doesn't matter if they are the popular kid or the nerdy kid or the drama kids or the, you know, band, the dorky band kids. You allow people to feel comfortable to be themselves. And when they do that, they sort of like you, or they, not sort of like it, they feel this comfort And then they start, the comfort that you feel with a friend. And they start to treat you as a friend, even if people may think, well, we typically wouldn't be friends in another scenario, or you may say, hey, that's the popular girl. Why is she hanging out with the goth kids? But you let people be comfortable, and then they let you be you. And so you're allowed this really vast and varied social network that is made up, and I see this all the time with 11th house and Aquarius placements. Your friends will be of all different races, all different socioeconomic and educational backgrounds, all different personality types. You can have friends that are super introverted, friends that are super extroverted. It's really a skill. It makes you happy. It makes other people feel loved and comfortable. And it's just a gift that keeps on giving. That social interaction that you keep, it keeps going. It never dies out. The energy never dies out for you. I think all Aquarius and all 11th house placements, I see them just have their friends for years, because no matter how much time has passed, they never forget to eventually send out a text or a phone call or a birthday card or something that lets them know, like, I still accept you. You're still in my friend. You're still in my realm of friends here. So yeah, friendships, socializing is just a beautiful gift that you guys have. You have a mercurial skill in socializing. You understand it sort of like a robot almost. You understand what makes each person tick. You allow certain social faux pas to pass that other people may not. If somebody is constantly wearing like the same sweater every day, and most people would make fun of them, you'll understand, like, yeah, that person wears the same sweater every day, and that's kind of weird to a lot of people, but you still let them be them. You're understanding, like, this is a thing, and I'm gonna kind of, you also, being this big talker, are great at making friends because you're not shy to start a conversation. Like, if you're in high school, it's a perfect place for anybody with 11th house placements. You don't mind being like, hey, what do you think about the lunch today? Or, hey, can you help me find my locker? You don't mind just going. And it's a natural icebreaker. A lot of times we just need someone to make that first move or say that first sentence to kind of get things started. And then you follow it up with letting people be who they are, letting people feel comfortable with their responses. And that is really the sort of mechanism how you make friends. Tell me if that rings true for you guys, or if you are more introverted and you're having trouble making friends, I would say use that blueprint. Start talking, be accepting, within reason. And I just feel like friends will just naturally gravitate towards you. And again, what you talk about can vary from sign to sign, but you will always be passionate about it, and it will always have this progressive Aquarian, futuristic dream-like tinge to it. And the last thing I want to say about how your Mercury comes up with these ideas and how it transmits and sends out these ideas and receives things and thinks of things is Aquarius energy, Uranus energy, 11th house energy has this sort of eureka sort of vibe to it. And the thing is, when you're talking to so many different types of people, you're having so many different types of influence, it is sort of like a concoction in a bowl, and it makes something new. And that is how you get these new ideas and you get these progressive ideas. When you are constantly talking to the same few people in life or the same types of people, you're gonna hear the same things. They're gonna say the same things. They're gonna, be listening to the same songs and all be watching the same shows. It's very monolithic. But because you open yourself up, you hear things that you wouldn't have naturally heard, and it pings you. Okay, this person said this, and that connects to this person. Maybe I can go here, or, maybe you are, I don't know, in the drama club, and you want to get your play seen, but you talk to somebody in the politics, more conservative club that most people from your group wouldn't have talked to, and they say, hey, there's a news crew coming at 6 by the school to do a little piece on us. Bam, maybe I can be at the news thing and say this about this, and that is where the beauty lies. So I think if there's just any key to this placement, it is to socialize, socialize, socialize. On a more literal note, what can you sound like? Mercury and Aquarius just has this very different tinge to it. So I think that your voice can come off kind of different. The sign is going to very much influence your voice, but the house does as well. When you have an 11th house, your voice may be different. When we think about Nicki Minaj, her voices are so, like, voices, different voices that kind of go up and down. They have range. It's kind of wonky, but you know her, and then she's got like the New York accent. You have the kind of voice that as soon as people hear it, even if they don't see you, they know it's you. Kim Kardashian has this sort of like, I watched this video like this, like, I don't know, this thing where she kind of draws out each word, this sort of Valley Girl, but like extremely drawn out, but it's also extremely nice at the same time. So your voice will sound different and unique and recognizable to people. But I think the sign that it's in really influences as well. So let's say if your Mercury's in Scorpio, for example, Scorpios, I tend to notice they have a very soft, sort of low, they have a low voice. Mercury and Libra tend to have a bit higher pitched, nicer, sweeter sounding voice. So there's that, but it'll be different. If Mercury is retrograde in your chart, all of this rings true. It just may actualize itself maybe a little bit later in life and not like at the end, maybe a couple years later, or it will be something that you are not as vocal about. You will feel just as intense, because when we look at the planets, it seems as though they're moving backwards. It will feel closer to you. You'll feel this intensity and this passion towards your own dreams, towards making the world better, towards socializing, towards exchanging ideas. But you may be more reticent to speak. You may be more laconic when you speak. You may speak about it, but just touch on it briefly. You may wait until a little bit later in life to start speaking about it. Like maybe if someone speaks about a dream and they're in high school, you may wait till you're like 23, 24, and you might kind of start putting it out there. This doesn't have a huge effect. Everything in this video still applies. It does. It just means you are more careful and I think a little bit more thoughtful before you actually put it out into the world. Because remember, you're putting those feelers out and you want to make sure you're believing it and putting out the right things to the right people and stuff like that. You also may love to socialize, maybe with a smaller group. And as you get older, you may become a lot more accepting of accepting new people in your social circle. So the too long don't read for your Mercury in the 11th house. I have 4 things for you guys that I want you to take away from the video. What are some changes that you would like to see in the world? And what are some changes that you would like to see in your world? It doesn't matter if they're big or small, write them down. Are there any people in your vicinity that you haven't talked to that you would like to talk to and maybe share some common interests? Always, always, always send texts out, send memes to your friends, reply to emails from your friends, and just keep up. Call them from time to time, just randomly, and be like, hey, what's up? And the biggest thing that you guys can do, I want all of you to join one group. It can even be an online group that shares progressive ideals that you care about. And I want you to tell me your experience and how life-changing that is, because I know that it will be for you guys. So anyway, that was Mercury in the 11th. This was a fun one. I love 11th house stuff. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me the groups that you're in. And yeah, I will see you guys for the next video. Mercury in the 10th.